For someone that's just starting off, what piece of advice would you give?
I would give someone starting off some advice of to not take everything that they learn literally in the books. You can apply that knowledge, but know that every diagnosis will end up being different for each individual. Every person's different. That not to expect one knee patient that had a total knee replacement to be the same as the next one. Also, I learned that when you start off in a clinic and they say these are the exercises I would show someone with a shoulder injury, that I kind of felt like I got stuck in a rut at first. Like, oh, every shoulder should do these exercises. And I feel like use your imagination, be creative, because no two people are alike. And that definitely holds true, and I'm still learning that.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, so have you ever dealt with someone, I don't know, in a depression state? And if you did, or have you, what would you do, or what process do you go through that with someone? Maybe that they don't want to be as active, or they just don't want the service.
I felt like I had to deal with that a lot in the hospital. When I worked in the hospital, that the patients would rather not have therapy, a lot of them. And in the hospital work, they give you a list of how many patients you need to see per day. And it's almost like I felt so pressured to get that done. Like, oh, I got to go see 10 patients in the morning, 10 patients in the afternoon. And when someone said they didn't want to be seen, which happened a lot, you're kind of like, whew, now I can go see that. I'll get my patients done. I remember feeling stressed like that. And I felt like in the hospital, yeah, the patients were a lot more depressed, didn't really want to, some did, it depended on their diagnosis, obviously, but the hospital felt like it was more stressful trying to get that done. And when you had a depressed patient, or you had someone that didn't want to have therapy, it was actually you yourself as a therapist was like, okay, now I have more time to go see someone else, which is the total wrong way to feel. But in some instances, like the hospitals, I felt like that. Now, when I deal with people outside the hospital, I haven't worked in a hospital in like 10 years or so. But now when I see people that are in their homes, it's so much different because 99% of them want therapy. They want me to come so they can get better. And that is a much better feeling. You feel like you're going to help these people out because like, psychologically they want to get better. But every once in a while you get somebody that doesn't necessarily want to get better or doesn't think they can get better. And right now I have somebody who is wheelchair bound. She hasn't gotten up to walk in about 5 or 6 years. She can't go to the bathroom herself. She can't transfer herself. She can't dress herself. She can barely eat. Her arm motion, she's kind of stuck like here, so she can barely move to lift stuff. But yes, she has no money. She lives at home, but she's running out of money. She took out a reverse mortgage on her house, and she's depressed, like so depressed. She's very lonely. She has no family. Hardly any friends are still alive. She's 80 years old. It's a super sad situation, and she cries every single time I go see her. She wants to walk. Her goal is to walk. And it's so hard because after the first time I saw her, I didn't know. It's like, oh, maybe, when I first saw her, maybe we could get you up. And then I kind of evaluated her and kind of started working on her strength. And now I've seen her multiple times over a course of about 2 months, and there's no way she'll ever walk. And it's so hard to tell her this. I feel so bad for her because as soon as I want her to realize she's not going to ever walk, and we're running out of her therapy sessions, but as soon as she comes to that realization, it's going to be much easier if she can do it herself. But as soon as she finds out, it's going to be so sad. Because that's kind of the only reason, like, she exercises. That's the only reason she does things is because she has that hope that she'll get up again and walk. And I don't foresee that happening. And between myself and the doctors, even the caregivers, we're all kind of communicating so that she'll know, eventually after we're done that she's not going to walk. So we've kind of set some dates, some goals, and if she can achieve some goals by certain dates, that'll help her to either realize she can or can't walk. So one of them is trying to stand up in the parallel bars with help. And her knees hurt so bad when we lift her, and it's total max assist, like two people, one person on each side, we're lifting her up, and then she has this block in front of her so her knees don't collapse. And if we've tried to lift her a couple of times and her knees hurt and we're lifting her 100%, so that's our goal, is to see if she can stand up in the parallel bars. But I don't think she'll even attain that goal because her arms are so weak. So we'll see. It's very sad. She wants to die. She keeps telling me. That's all she says is, I'm ready to die. I can't wait to die. Why can't a doctor euthanize me? It's kind of sad. It's hard to deal with.
That sounds very, very sad. That sounds depressing, actually.
I leave her house, and I'm just so depressed every day, every time I leave there. And, I'm constantly looking for resources for her. So the one thing is she can't get out of her house because she's in a wheelchair. And her caregiver, she can't afford a caregiver to come more than 3 times a day to change her diaper and put her in and out of bed. So I'm thinking, oh, well, we need to use some community services. Maybe they can come and take her anywhere. Maybe she has a friend, she can go to the movie or get out because she's so lonely. She's afraid to go outside in a car in her wheelchair. She's gotten to the point where she's scared if it's not the same car that she's been using. So she won't use any community services. So then now I'm thinking, okay, we got to find someone to come to her and visit her. Well, that's hard too. They do have people that'll come visit, but they're strangers, and you look up online and so-and-so might come visit you and read a book to you, but it's just, I don't know, it's just really hard. And then there's the church, and she's kind of exhausted every avenue with the church. They come every Sunday and kind of give her the communion and a service or something, but it's really hard.
That sounds really, really hard. And, well, okay, so let's go to something a little lighter. So when you're, when you are working with someone and you have, I don't know, a course of treatment, when do you evaluate and then when to stop treatment? What are things? Do you have guidelines?
Oh, yeah. So with physical therapy, you are required to evaluate everybody. And when you evaluate them, you are required to set goals. And you set short-term goals and long-term goals. And then you send these goals to the doctor and they sign the plan of care. But you kind of use these goals to go by to evaluate how you're doing and if you're meeting those goals. So let's say with Sonia, you have a bad balance, and I want to improve your balance. One of your goals would obviously be to stand on one leg for 20 seconds. Without using any assistance. And so that might be my short-term goal. I'd like to achieve that in 2 weeks. So that would be one of my goals. So as we go along, I would see if you could reach that goal. And you can always adjust. You don't have to, the goal doesn't have to be met at 2 weeks or else you're done. Mm-hmm. So you can adjust as you go along, and you do updates. You do plan of cares updates every 10 days or is it 2 months? Whatever one comes first, you have to do an updated plan of care. So you're constantly evaluating the patient, reevaluating the patient, and most of this is because of insurance. Insurance won't pay unless they see improvement. So if you don't show that you are evaluating and changing your plan according to so that the patient can improve, insurance won't pay for it. Let's say we didn't have insurance to worry about. It'd kind of be the same because you would want to make sure the person gets better, but you could at least go at your own pace and wouldn't have to worry about all the paperwork. But it's good that insurance keeps you in check, you know, but at the same time, sometimes it's limiting because it's so much paperwork. It's kind of a pain.
Would you say that's huge? Like that's
the paperwork
and insurance?
Yeah, that would be one reason someone wouldn't go into the business. Is because of the paperwork and the notes you have to take and the getting this signed and approvals. And I mean, most offices have a billing department, but as a therapist, you still need to know how you're treating the patient. Are you treating what you're treating them for so that you can bill that treatment? Because everything's coded. So if I bill for balance, I have to code for balance. If I bill for stretching, I code for stretching. So you still have to know all that. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But just every patient you have to have notes on, so that you can prove that you are not just maintaining. I'm just not just helping you maintain your strength, but you're actually improving. And insurance wants to see that. Some people wouldn't do exercise if you didn't go over to their house. So that's kind of hard too. Then you almost become a personal trainer when you go over there and you help them go through the exercises. But people need that. And so there's a fine line between maintaining and actually improving. Because there's a lot of laws that have changed recently. And maintaining therapy, it's called maintenance therapy, has finally become allowed for a short time. Because otherwise the person might regress. So it's not just that you're helping them maintain where they are. You're just making sure they don't go back down. So like Parkinson's disease and stuff like that, we can help them maintain their flexibility and their balance and gait. But if we stop and they don't do it themselves, which is a lot of stuff's hard to do yourself, then they'll regress. So insurance is finally catching on to that, but it's hard. But let's say you're a patient and when you first asked me, do you know when to stop? I was thinking, know when to stop the movement or the exercise, or let's say they're lifting weights. Like, when do you know how many? How do you know how many to do? Or when you're stretching their leg, how do you know how far to go? And I get a lot of cues from people's faces.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You watch their face and you can tell, especially when you're stretching someone.
Definitely.
You can tell that their face. But I like that my clientele is so old. My patients are so old that I kept, like today I was telling the lady, we're just going to start off with baby steps. Because the last thing I want to do is push you too hard. And then, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I don't want to do that. Or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah. So it's with the older population, you got to go really slow.
Really, really slow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the thing you most enjoy about doing it all, everything you do, I mean, just oversee, like, just everything.
Everything. The best thing is seeing someone who can't walk again, or someone that couldn't use their arm again. That's the best. I love that. Or just having a kid that broke their ankle and then now they can run again. Oh, I had this one little girl whose foot got ran over by a lawnmower. Yeah, it was like lost a toe. They had to reattach another toe. Oh,
how old was she?
5, I think. Yeah, she's 4 or 5. Oh, she was the cutest little thing, but she couldn't walk. She couldn't walk normal. And because they reattached tendons everywhere, and they lost a toe and moved a toe over. And,
oh, God.
Yeah, and so that was really cool, though, because kids are so